Hey everyone, Mr. The Fanboy here. It's time for another video, and this is my late review of the Bellator event, Bellator 162. I meant to do a video giving my thoughts on this event as soon as it was announced, I think last week, but I never got around to doing that video, and I meant to watch and review the show today, but I accidentally slept through it. I went to sleep around 6 o'clock and didn't wake up until about 12, 12, 12 o'clock midnight, 12 o'clock midnight, and a guy named a YouTube channel called The Fight Arts was nice enough to upload the Bellator fights for me. I'm only going to talk about the main card. I'm not going to talk about the preliminaries. I didn't watch the preliminaries. I'm also not going to talk about each fight in order because I watched the fights in a specific order, with me watching the main event fight first. But the first fight I'm going to start off with was the the worst fight of the night. It wasn't the worst fight of all time, but it was the worst fight on this show, and that was Ryan Couture versus Gotti Yamamuchi. Goiti Yamamuchi, I think that's his name. I'm on the internet right now. Let me see if I pronounced that right. Right, it was yeah, Goiti Yamamuchi. That's his name. Goiti Yamamuchi. This fight right here was disappointing. Both men started off in a stand-up position, but Ryan Couture immediately tried to go for a takedown against a guy who was supposed to be against Yamamuchi, a guy who's supposed to be the best on the mat. At least that's what the announcers were hyping him up to be. Hyping him to be. I haven't seen that many fights of him, of Yamamuchi, and Yamamuchi caught what's his name in a triangle hold, in a triangle armbar hold, and Ryan Couture immediately tapped that quickly. Like I said, this fight was over in a hurry. It started off good, but then as it went downhill as soon as Ryan Couture tried to go to the ground. Why would why would Ryan Couture should have tried to stand up and knock him out? Why would he go to the ground with a guy who was supposed to be an expert on the ground? Ryan Couture is supposed to be a good wrestler, but this guy's a jiu-jitsu, and on the ground, jiu-jitsu beats wrestling. This is why you stand up and fight, and you only use your grappling and wrestling ability to defend yourself against takedowns. This is what grappling is for in MMA. The ground game all is for in MMA. You use that to defend against takedowns, not offensively go against the opponent and keep trying to take him down. Rolling around on that hard canvas is not healthy. It's not healthy. You should try and knock him out. Knock him out. So yeah, this was the most disappointing fight. This was the most disappointing fight of the night. Not the worst of all time, but it was the worst on this show, and this was the most disappointing fight of the night. The second fight of the night was actually part of your co-main event, and that was Bobby Lashley. The second fight I'm going to talk about, which was part of your co-main event, and that was Bobby Lashley versus, what's that guy's name? I think he's a veteran of the oh yes, yes, yeah, Josh Alpha. He's a veteran of the Bellator cage. He made his return tonight. And this was one of Bobby Lashley's better opponents in recent history, and one of his better fights. The two men actually started off standing up. They started off standing up, and with what's the guy's name? With Josh Alpert distribute, di, demonstrating awesome technique for a heavyweight, hitting an awesome jab combo and displaying awesome boxing skills against Lashley. And Lashley, a roundhouse kick. Lashley is usually a boxer and wrestler, but Lashley actually hit a front kick on hit a martial arts leg kick on Josh Alpert. Josh Alpert. Like I said, it started off great, but then Lashley, of course, he played to his strength, took him down. Bobby Lashley, a wrestler, he took him down, and he finished him off. He finished him off with mounted punches as Josh Alpert covered up. Like I said, one of Bobby Lashley's best fights in most recent history. As much as I love Bobby Lashley, the one thing I cannot stand about watching his fights is since most of his opponents really aren't that good, all he does is take them down and lay on them for several hours. Pretty much what Brock Lesnar, in my opinion, Royce Gracie, the Gracies made popular. Instead of fighting, constantly laying and praying, which I can't stand, and that's what he did in previous fights. Here, before he did the laying and praying stuff, he actually demonstrated awesome stand-up fighting skills. So, like I said, another pretty awesome fight. Now let's go to the now for the two best fights of the night, and that was Hisaki Hisaki Kato versus AJ Matthews. I wanted Hisaki Kato, who I was most familiar with before this fight, to win the fight, and he did. But man, was this an awesome fight! AJ Matthews actually controlled most of the fight and probably would have won the fight had it went to decision. But towards the end of the fight, both men started off standing up with AJ Matthews controlling the fight and out brawling, out fighting Hisaki Koto. Hisaki Koto, however, had a size advantage, and he came back in the end. He came back in the end and overwhelmed AJ and finished him off with punches. I do not like that ground and pound stuff, but I didn't like the way it finished with the ground and pound stuff. I don't like that ground and pound stuff. I agree with martial arts YouTube martial arts YouTube personality Freddie Lee, who believes the ground and pound is not martial arts. I feel it should be like boxing. You knock them down, either get on the ground and try for a cool submission hold, or wait till they get back to their feet. Wait till they get back to their feet. But what you call it, finished them off with TKO punches. And one of the most exciting first rounds I've ever seen. This fight ended in 4 minutes and 58 seconds of round one. The most exciting 4 to 5 minutes I've ever seen. Most exciting round one I've ever seen. So like I said, awesome fight, man. Um, the main event. Oh yes, the main event was the returning Alexander Shlemenko, who has been serving a nearly 2 year long suspension for failing a drug test last year. Taking on Kendall Grove in the main event, and boy, was this an awesome fight. Awesome stand-up skills and technique demonstrated by both men. You even had Alexander Shlemenko hit a spinning back fist, hit a failed spinning back fist in this fight. As there were several kicks, several roundhouses in this fight. This was an actual martial arts type fight in an MMA like environment. Most MMA fights are like usually brawls. There's some usually lightweights, which is why I always love watching lightweights who demonstrate good technique, who demonstrate good stand up and ground skills was mostly big guys who are just brawlers who like to hit things, who can only like grapple and stuff. But this right here was a more technical martial arts like bout for an MMA fight. And like I said, and that's why I like Bellator. Haven't been watching much of Bellator this year because most of their fights have really not have just been okay, have just been really okay. Nothing special, at least of the ones I watched, and I've accidentally missed a lot of them. The last fight I watched, which I can't remember the name of the event. I'm on the internet right now. Uh, yeah, it was Henderson versus Pitbull. This show, that show right there, that show right there was average at best. But here, Bellator 162 was awesome. Well, this was my short review of Bellator 162, which was an awesome event. Wish I could have watched it live. But like I said, I was asleep. This was my review of Bellator 2. Next video, I'm gonna give my thoughts on two upcoming Bellator events I'm looking forward to. All right, I'm done.